Looks like we're live.
Awesome.
Perfect. So I'll start. Today, we're going to show how persistence can bring out the best in all SDR teams around the world. So, how can persistence help SDRs unlock their full potential? First, we'll start by introducing Mitchell. Mitchell is a co founder of Pure Abundance and a huge advocate for SDRs too. Not only that, he's an enterprise SDR at Okta. So, let's give him a round of congratulations. A round of applause.
Appreciate
That's
it.
amazing.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so we'll jump right in. We'll jump right into the resilience aspect and kick this off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know how SDR sometimes just struggle to call back a lead or just follow up after you get a no show at a meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is where persistence helps my team and I. We remind each other that persistence does work because there are cases where you might not get them in the beginning, but we're
Yeah.
here to play the long game.
For sure.
So,
Um,
Mitchell, how can persistence help SDRs in sales?
yeah, definitely. Persistence is a great word and it means a lot. It holds a lot of weight because I don't think you can really make it honestly, like just just not in sales, but just like in life in general. Persistence is huge, because we all go through different things that can get us down. Like you just mentioned about having no shows or, talking to or calling back a CEO that hung up on you a couple of days ago or a week ago, and then having the persistence to be like, hey, I'm going
Yeah.
to pick up the phone again and call this person again. And just, I think for me, persistence is the backbone of any good sales development rep, any good salesperson, any person. I think you have to have persistence, resilience to get back up and shake it off. Because honestly, you don't ever fail. The only you learn. The only way you fail is if you give up. So
I love that mindset.
yes,
You
sir.
only learn. You only win or
Yeah,
you learn.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
And I understand that you've been in SaaS sales for a long time, so you must have
Hmm.
had a lot of instances where perseverance really paid off.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. I've been in SaaS sales for about I want to say about almost 6 years now. So,
Wow.
getting older into the game, getting more hairs. But it's been plenty of times where persistence has paid off. Just like in different jobs I've had. In there's one job I was working at, and I was doing more cold calling than anything. Just really hitting the dials. And if you have a bad day, you can't let that bad day turn into two bad days. Or if you have a bad call, you can't let that call turn into two, three, four, five or six bad calls. You just have to, okay, I had a bad call. Let's make this next call the best call. And I think that was huge for me. And I think that kind of helped me with succeeding and being successful is being able to have short-term memory loss is what I'll call it. I have a football background, so I played offensive line for many years. Got to play collegiately on the professional level as well. And if I let my last bad play get me down, I'll have a bad game, for the rest of the game. I couldn't do that to myself, couldn't do that to my team, and the people that are count on me to succeed. That's the same thing in sales. You can't let your team down. You can't let your other SDRs down. You can't let your account executive down, your managers. You have to get over that hump and succeed and persevere and be resilient through the ups and the downs. Because you're gonna have high highs and you're gonna have low lows. It's just the name of the game and what we do. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing
yes, sir.
insight from your football days all the way to your 6 years in sales, from like
Yes,
a
sir.
SDR to AE to a SDR manager too, and back to enterprise SDR, which is
Yeah. Yes.
incredible. And I
Yeah.
know that Vishnu was an SDR for a little bit too, so you must
Yeah.
have some stories also.
Yeah, kind of whatever I'm gonna say is just gonna be double clicking on what Mitch here is saying. It's so true. Like you can learn a lot from every touch point, every prospect,
Yeah,
every conversation you have.
yeah,
Um, Initially I had to learn whether to leave voicemails or not, or how many
yeah,
times to call people. Probably the most important thing that I feel I'm learning and still have a long way to go is the
yeah.
amount of preparation. So it was really tempting early on when I was just calling through our dialer outreach,
Hmm.
just to open up their LinkedIn profile and spend like even 5 minutes just reading recent posts or their job descriptions, what they write in
Right.
their bio, and then come up with a script in my mind. Oh, I'm going to say this first, that's so targeted, and then make the
Yeah,
call. um,
yeah,
Realized most of these just they don't go anywhere, like people don't pick up. Right?
yeah.
So trying to just move from that mentality of preparing for what you're going to say versus
Hmm.
preparing for how you're going to say it and the structure of what you're going to say helped me
Definitely.
a lot, because I could learn to distinguish between what I can learn in terms of how I'm saying something versus what I'm
Yeah.
actually saying. Um,
Right.
you know, how I'm saying is not just the pitch and tonality; those matter a lot as well. It's
Yeah.
also, do I ask a discovery question in the first 20 seconds of the cold call? Do I
Yeah.
lead in with who I am and what I do, and then ask like a permission based opener? There's so many things with the mechanics of a cold call that can
Yeah.
be really successful for you, or some things for some people is not really successful. So
Yeah.
as you said, Mitch, kind of don't let the bad calls get you down, just like
For
bad
sure.
football plays. That's a fantastic analogy. um,
Yeah.
Kind of learn the
Appreciate
most
it.
by listening to other people make calls and listen to your own calls.
Definitely.
Treat that as like Netflix for your own personal enjoyment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean
Yeah, go for
that's huge, man. I think you hit on some key points there. And then one thing I liked was when you spoke about not being trying to be cookie cutter for like each call and not spending and having a good balance because you don't want to spend too much time doing a lot of research when the call doesn't go anywhere if the person doesn't pick up. But just
it.
being
Yeah,
able to work on the fly, if they pick up, being able to kind of have a something quick where it only takes you like a minute or two to know like what role they're in and what they care about, and then being able to apply that as if they do answer, being able to apply that to the conversation that you have with the person. And like you said, being able to listen to your calls and use that, back to football, like that's your game field because you want to be able to, man, like I know if I say this, I know, they responded this way, but I said this and they responded negatively this way. So just being able to use those tools is for your advantage for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mitch and Grams, for sharing. Mitch and Vishnu for sharing your perspective on
Yeah.
both of these. I'm still fairly new to this, and this is definitely something I would 100% get more into like the next week of my
Yeah.
career.
Definitely.
Yeah, and this actually leads into the second question.
Yeah.
What do you think managers can do to help boost persistence in SDR so that we can push through those difficulties and objections?
Yeah. That's a great question. Me being a manager for almost probably like half a year, 6 months or so, and wanting to get back into that space, that's something I do, think about. And I think it goes back to um, I think it goes back to what we spoke about, just having those that being persistent, and then being able to coach your team up, and honestly be a cheerleader, encourage them through and let them know,
Mhm.
especially like I'm glad I've had my own route to being an SDR and hopefully getting back into management sooner than later, being able to let them know that you're not gonna win every single time. Like there's be months where you just blow the quota out the water, and there's gonna be months where you are barely squeaking by, or you might not even hit quota. But being able to not let that be your value. You don't put your value into like, if I don't hit my quota or if I don't book this meeting, I'm worthless. Being able to coach them like, you know, our job is hard and it's not getting any easier, and it's getting harder because a lot of people are not picking up the phone like they used to. So just being a coach, motivating that person, motivating the team, and just like showing them that, and not being afraid to get in the trenches with them is probably huge for me. Just showing them that what the different things that I did that helped me elevate myself as an SDR. And I think the biggest thing is like pushing through those lows, man, because they come. Like you have high highs, but I think you have even lower lows, and just like coaching them up on like how to get through those. Because the only way you can get through those is like, keep pushing through, motivating yourself, motivating the team too. Even if you're feeling down, still motivating the team, because that will help lift yourself up as well. So I think that's just a couple things I would say as a manager perspective on how to just keep motivating my team and pushing through, because I think the hardest part of SDR is getting through those low lows. I don't think it's cold calling. I don't think it's emailing people objections. I think it's like pushing through those low times and stuff like that, and having a good balance, because your mental health is everything as well. And I don't want my team members getting burnt out and being mentally drained and not being able to give their all, because they're just, they're doing too much and not giving themselves time to break, and letting them know that they matter more than making these dials. So just having a good balance of being a coach and, and having a heart for your team as well. So
I like that one. Not letting your numbers define you and knowing that
yes,
you have high highs, but even lower lows.
yes, sir.
And Vishnu, what do you think about this so far?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think, you said, Mitch, kind of getting in that trenches. Completely
Yeah,
agree. In my personal case, just having my co-founder Rohan
yeah,
just make dials as I'm dialing really
yeah,
kind of helped me just show like what good is all about, right?
yeah.
A lot of kind of the persistence comes from, I feel, a sense of feeling confident in yourself.
Right.
um, I think Chris Ciccone wrote a post about this earlier.
Yeah. Yep.
If you don't, like if you don't feel like your product has value, run, right? It makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
the reason
Yeah.
all of
That's
us are
huge.
where we are right now is because we believe in our product, and
Right.
a way to believe in your product is just seeing how people react to your product, what people
Yeah.
say when you tell them about it, how you bring it
Yeah.
up, and what people's initial responses are. So just seeing,
Definitely.
someone who just knows how the mechanics of cold calling goes, right? Most likely your manager or even a senior SDR team lead, just hear them out as they make calls and kind of listen to how they conduct it. You can learn
For
from that,
sure.
but not only that, you can learn their persistence.
Yeah.
um, most new SDRs, including myself, when starting out, after
Mhm.
maybe two good meetings booked, most of us tend to just stop and say, "Good day. I
Yeah.
think let's
Yeah.
sign off."
Yeah.
Um, so
For
on other
sure.
days, it's like two
Been
bad
there.
calls, and we're like, "Okay, good day. We're gonna sign off right now."
Definitely. Definitely. I've been there on both ends, and yeah, it's and first off, just having a great product is, you can't beat that, because you have a product you believe in, is easy to sell and it's easy to get behind, because you're not trying to grab people and force them into a meeting, but you're like showing the value of how how they can, our solution helps this person or helps this company. Because if we're just forcing people to meet, that's not going to do you any good, and your account executive is not going to get too much out of that. They might even close the deal, but if that person didn't have a need and they don't really need our solution at the time, what is the point of forcing them to a meeting? And yeah, I think that's huge. Like I've sold great products, I've sold not so great products. So it's always, it's a balance, honestly, but I think you can't beat having a great product, that you can stand behind.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, kind of, based on what you said, like selling good products, selling bad products, it all in the end comes down to, how are you helping people out, right?
Right,
If
exactly.
you kind of think from the meeting standpoint itself, which is why I feel that the SDR incentivization should really lean on, I guess, completion.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, due to the fact that if you kind of force the meeting through, then two things can happen: they will show up or they don't show up, right?
right,
And if they don't
right.
show up, that's it. If they do show
Yeah,
up, then maybe the AE has to work even harder to close the deal. And
yeah,
if the he does close the deal, like you said, customer success has to work even harder to make sure they're getting value out of it, right?
Yeah,
And in the end,
exactly.
what's gonna happen? They're gonna churn,
Right. It's gonna be turn, and then it's like, okay, you booked all these meetings, you closed this much pipeline, but in 2 or 3 months, all of it's gone, and it's like you did nothing, even though you got paid
Exactly.
for it. So at the back end, it doesn't really help to just push people through, but being able to have a great product, and honestly, it goes back. I think that's the foundation of doing what we do is how can we meet people's needs, at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe I'll flip the script on Jonathan a bit.
Yeah,
Jonathan,
Yes.
how do you feel
he's been
like,
grilling us this whole time.
I know, right? Let's do some discovery on Jonathan. So,
Yeah,
I mean, clearly you thought about something when, I guess, bringing up this topic for webinar persistence. You've been in the SDR role for like just over a month right now, right? When did you feel that you needed to, add more persistence? And
yeah,
did your manager help you with that?
that's a great question.
Yeah, so recently when I joined my very first pipeline review after like 2 bad days of calling and I was feeling those low lows, I realized
Yeah.
that I really need to get my shit together. And that is it. Like this week, I started out by making not just more cold calls, but I actually focused on the quality of it. I started
Mm,
looking into more cold calls that were successful, that booked meetings,
yeah, yeah,
and how they were able to show value and overcome those similar objections, which it really upped my game.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is what really got me thinking about it. So I actually came up with this topic yesterday, and as you had 6 years of experience in SaaS sales, I thought you would be perfect for this, Mitch.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think I love how you said about focus on quality because, but having a obviously having a great balance of quantity with your outreach and stuff like that. But like if you're focused on quality with who you're reaching out to, the right personas, knowing that this might be something that they can use or that, there's something that they said that, it made sense to reach out to. I think that's always helpful. I believe in quality over quantity, but I definitely believe quality is, like Austin Mitchell said, quality is super important at the end of the day. You can have a bunch of dials, but if you're calling, and that was me when I first started, if I'm calling 100, 200 dials, just killing it, but they're the wrong people, then like I'm wasting time. Like my stats look good, but I'm not booking any meetings, and there's no quality coming out of the work that I'm doing. So quality is super important.
Yeah, thank you to Danny too. But
Yeah,
I completely agree. Quality is extremely important.
yeah,
Extremely. Which actually kind of leads to my next point. What are
yeah.
some ways do you think managers can help boost that quality and that resilience in SDRs? Do you think,
That's
yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
do you think they could just try to, as a manager, did you try to instill confidence into your SDRs every day? Did you give like stoplight motivations to them every morning? How does it work for
Man,
you?
that's a great question. I think motivation is huge first off, man. And I would try to see what motivated my group as a whole, and then I would see what motivated my group individually and try to focus on what's going to push them to meet their goals at work. And from that point I would, and that being said, to see how it would motivate them to achieve their quota and different things of that nature, I would see like if they're, wanting to save up for a house or get out their parents' house or buy a car
Yeah.
or, save up to be able to provide for their kid or their family, just different things that are personal, but it'll push them every day to hit their quota and achieve and make more money. And I think and yeah, and having those, and what I do today at Okta, like I'm coming in ground floor, not an SDR manager or anything like that yet, not in a lead role or senior role yet. But what I try to do is the thermostat and not and not the thermometer. So what that means is just being able to set the tone in every meeting, being able to send out those quotes, to the different chats that I'm in, and hopefully people do see the stoplight motivation. And I think that just helps people to want to do better, and when it comes back to like my own team, I would just help them see, okay, what what different personas does it make sense for you to reach out to, and how can we increase your quality and focus on the quality up front, and then have so much quality that the quantity comes with it as well. So appreciate
Yeah.
it.
And I remember that you focused on individual personalities, motivations, personas.
Yes,
And I was
sir.
wondering, what are some of the most successful things you've gotten done with that? Like, what are some of the most successful tactics you've used as a manager?
As a manager, just seeing what motivate people, and being able to not be so hard on quota, not be so hard on, call numbers and emails and all of this different stuff. And just focus on, okay, how can I help my group? How can I help my team? And obviously having the quota and having like that's there. That's gonna be there, always gonna be there. Quota, all of that stuff is undefeated. But if I can focus on helping them become the best SDR they can be, the best person they can be, I think you don't have to worry about quota, because it's going to happen, because you're focused on the person, and you focus on how you can help them become an overall better human being, and not just focused on how you can help this person meet their quota, and so focused on quota that they don't end up hitting quota because they're not encouraged and motivated outside of just doing the work of the job. So
Yeah, yeah, I see. Hey, Okta,
yeah.
I'm gonna tag you in this after. So if you see this and you're listening, team lead coming up next in maybe 1 or 2 months, and maybe
uh,
SDR manager right after.
Hey,
Let's
bro, I
go.
appreciate it, man. I receive all of that good vibes, man. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah,
And yeah, Vishnu, I know that you also went to a sales leadership conference very recently. What are your thoughts about how managers can boost resilience?
Yeah, actually, my first in-person sales event was last Friday. UT Dallas Samira and Dr. Dover, two faculty members there, were hosting an event with Kevin Dorsey, Lindsay Boggs, and several leaders that I've seen on LinkedIn. It was amazing to meet them, ask questions. Yeah, I think the probably the main takeaway I'd say, and kind of this goes off of what Mitch was saying earlier too. The reason you identify a buyer persona is because you want to help them become the best version of themselves.
Maybe a little bit of connection.
Oh yes,
yeah.
am I
There you
Could you
back?
go,
repeat what you
Vishnu.
said?
Yes, sir.
Ah,
You're back.
yeah.
You're back like you
Can
never left.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason we focus on a buyer persona and keep it targeted is because when we have those conversations, we can relate and bring value. So
Right.
when I see one of the most common cases of people experiencing call reluctance, and this happened earlier as well to me, is when you're trying to relate with someone who does not understand your problem or does not face it,
Yeah.
right? So especially in early stage companies, when they're doing a lot more customer discovery, and they're hiring SDRs, you got to tell them up front, you're probably going to experience more rejection, but it's important you see whether that rejection comes from an objection that can be
Right.
kind of, I guess, logically deduced, or you can use reasoning to identify that the objection is coming from either a validation of your pain point, or simply a lack of relation to anything that you're trying to sell. And
Right.
there's been kind of a lot of content I've been seeing on LinkedIn, maybe those that relate more with, um, I guess, SDRs sending non-targeted emails, which can
Yeah.
cause frustration. It happens. Um,
Mhm.
so in that sense, the spray and pray approach totally does not work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
As Jonathan, you kind of your first post on LinkedIn was SDRs are more effective than traditional marketing engines when it comes to the fact that an SDR is basically doing like souped up personalized marketing. When you send that
Yeah.
outbound email and you make that phone call, you're basically marketing to a very specific person.
Right.
that can only make sense to them if they're part of a buyer persona. So
Yeah.
that's why I kind of say, when you're prospecting, it really makes a huge impact on how you spend your time and how you're
Right.
going to be able to chart a pathway to hitting quota if you nail down that buyer persona.
Definitely. That's huge, man. That's very, very, very great points right there, Vishnu.
Thank you, Mitch.
Yes,
I
sir.
had a question for you. Being
Yeah.
now as a enterprise rep, do you? I guess you don't probably make a large number of calls, right? So, is it more targeted, or how does it work? What's your day to day like?
So I've been in enterprise roles before, and it was like I was still had a base call volume to hit. But I'm super grateful and thankful for Okta because they really give me the freedom to focus on right what you just said, targeting, make sure that I'm reaching out to right people, and they don't put a hard stamp on you have to hit $100, you have to hit $60, $50. They kind of
Yeah,
they've been able to give me some room to like, okay, I know that I have my targets, I know who I'm reaching out to, and and then I have the freedom to like, if this is a heavy dialing day, I'm good for it because I don't have an email target or like, so I really do
right,
get more freedom, but that wasn't always the case. And I believe, and I'm thankful because I believed in like the targeted approach and believed in quality over quantity. So if I'm focused on
Mhm.
making sure I'm sending out the right emails, making sure I'm having the multi-channel touch approach, LinkedIn, phone, email, and then setting a task for myself that shout out to my manager, Liz. She's been super helpful with that. Her last name starts with a C. I can't pronounce this, so I'm sorry about that. But it's been super helpful because I've had a lot of flexibility to just kind of get comfortable in the role and not have to focus on a large amount of calls or a large amount of emails, but just like putting, being able to focus on who am I emailing and who will I be calling and stuff of that nature. So it's been good. And long story, long answer short is just like, yeah, I don't really have a target that I have to hit number wise, and it's super freeing because it takes a lot of pressure off myself for trying to like hit $100 and stuff like that. So
That's great that you mentioned that. And yeah, I'm really happy to hear kind of, the whole direction, like as you said, is moving
yeah,
towards quality over quantity. I think when
yeah,
I hear from people who don't necessarily agree with this, it's because they're saying like, if you personalize an email and people don't open it, it goes to waste. But if you prepare for a call and they don't answer, like where's that targeted information gonna go, right? You spend some
right,
amount of time researching and coming up with that personalization. You always have to connect it with the context of the solution that you have. So
right,
for that,
yeah,
kind of my thoughts is, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
yeah, for sure,
Is that when you have a multi-touch
yeah,
communication, right,
yeah,
the chances drastically go up. Like you said, over LinkedIn,
yeah,
with a personal brand, you can just comment on their post and they're going to see where you're coming from, even, right,
right,
what kind of ideas you have. An email, a call, there are a lot of other things like video messaging, even like voice
yeah,
memo that you can use. So what I would say
definitely,
is, when you're trying to adopt this multi-touch framework, going
yeah,
beyond just calling or just emailing, right? Then you're
right,
able to get your personalization out there more, increasing the
yeah.
chances of them seeing it. And the personalization, the quality content is going to increase your chances of moving that forward.
Definitely, definitely, and yeah, just to add to that, and I know you had mentioned about just being able to have a being able to have an effective way in that approach is
Right.
that if I have a couple of if I have a few accounts and I have multiple people I'm trying to reach out to, I'll just personalize the first email to like do my research on the front end and personalize the first email, and then I can use that for my LinkedIn, and I can use that as my talk track as
Mm,
well when I do call on this account because I already personalized on the front end, so I'm not going by each single one and personalizing it again, but I'm just focused
Right.
on, okay, all right, personalize it. It's pretty good for this company and what they cared about in the past or something like that. So I can use this for, 4 or 5 different targets, different people I'm going after. So
Yeah, that's a great tip actually. Write it once
yeah,
and use it wherever, you have to use it. And often
yeah,
personalization
saves you
relates
time.
with the yeah, exactly. And it relates with the company too when you're personalizing
Yeah,
something, not only the person, right? So you could use that for the whole account even.
yeah,
Most of it at
yeah,
Oh
least.
wow.
definitely, for sure. I definitely believe that. I've done that, and I'm doing that, right now because it saves me time, and I can able to, focus on putting as many as I can out there in the same account, and then moving on doing the same thing for the other account. And there's some time on the front end, but in the back end, like, you're able to make your dials, make your calls, and not spend too much time personalizing each email to each prospect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mass personalization, it sounds like a huge game changer.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Mitch, for sharing your experiences from going from your football journey to your
yeah,
experiences as a SDR to the SDR manager, back to an SDR, looking to be an SDR manager again
yes,
at
sir, yes,
Okta.
sir.
Shout out to Liz Ciara Mitaro from team lead from Okta. And
Yes, sir. She's
thank you.
actually gonna be my manager pretty soon. So her and then Allie Burns as well. She's my senior manager right now. But yeah, she should be promoted. I mean, she should start being a manager in May is when her official start
Awesome.
date starts. So
Congrats to her.
so
Awesome.
Let's
shout out to
go.
her. Feel free to follow her as well because she's doing great work also.
Awesome.
And thank you, Vishnu, for talking about your
Yeah,
experiences
appreciate it,
at the
Vishnu.
sales
Appreciate you
conference
having
and
me.
just your, yeah,
It
just
was
your
awesome to
extensive.
hear Mitch's thoughts, and I kind of hope that the city builds more and more traffic lights along your road from work, so we can get more
Oh yeah,
motivational moments.
Man, bro, yeah, keep checking those out. Share them if y'all want to, man. Hopefully, I can just, keep providing good vibes and good content on LinkedIn, man. So y'all keep doing a great job, Jonathan. Appreciate you, man, for reaching out, and good luck. I mean, good skill on your journey, you too, Vishnu, because y'all
Thank
prepared for
you.
this, man. So y'all don't need any luck. Y'all got the skill already. So just keep it up.
thank you so
Appreciate it,
much.
and yeah, everyone watching, definitely follow Mitch over here. Once you hear one of his motivational videos, you'll be all set.
Check it out. Yeah, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate that, guys.
yeah. Before we go, Mitch, which one would
Yeah.
you recommend? Which stoplight motivation would you recommend to anyone
Uh,
watching? Would it be in your
um,
featured?
uh, maybe maybe the first one because it was so new. But I think all of them are pretty solid. And I'm actually finishing a series called Think Big series, and I did a couple already, so I should be finishing that up and just keep it going until it's done in the next few weeks or so, like that. So you know, all of them, I think all of them are solid. I let the people vote because I think the first one has like 40 plus likes or something like that. So maybe check that one out and check out the other ones too. So hopefully they can provide some motivation and just some perspective that can help. So
Yeah,
Awesome.
everybody, this will be the end of today's episode. It was amazing. Resilience really can help you push you far in this world,
yes,
extremely
sir.
far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hope everyone has a great week. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.
Yeah. Y'all have a good one, everybody. Appreciate it, fellas. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mitch, for coming.